You all know I like Team Fortress 2. At least I hope you do anyway. It's a game I hold near and dear to my heart, something I've put in way too many hours to be publicly proud of. It's one of my top favorite games of all time, and if I could take it on a date and live a long, healthy relationship with it, I would. Except for the fact that I'm not really on okay terms with its parents right now. But then again, I don't think a lot of people are either. I mean, all I did was pirate 32 copies of Ricochet, but apparently that's not why they're treating me the way that they are. Because it seems that every time I attempt to have fun, something is there to stop me. Something stops me from having fun. Whether it's the inability to play my favorite class, a bad string of games where my team and I just get rolled, the obvious bot issue that still hasn't been fixed. By the way, the bot crisis, totally made by Valve themselves as a meta advertisement for Man vs. Machine 2, get hyped, baby! Basal speculation aside, it got me thinking about something. What does it mean to have fun in TF2? What even is fun? Obviously, any game is more fun when you're winning. But something I think that can overpower that feeling is playing as your favorite class. Or rather, playing as your main. I've played a lot of matches, and every time I lose one, I always end up saying, well, at least I had fun doing this, or I had fun doing that. Even if you're losing, playing as your favorite class can help to alleviate that, even by a little. But what makes a main? Why do we main certain classes? I have a few ideas, so let's start off with one of my favorite train wrecks, the Demoman. And I'll get it out of the way now, he isn't my personal main of choice, that would be Engineer. But something about Demo's playstyle is just very appealing to me. To me, personally, there's nothing more fun to me than sticky jumping past the enemy lines, capturing the opposing team off guard, placing a few traps at their gate, and maybe getting a teleporter or two along the way. My aim isn't the best, and I'll miss my pipes a lot. But I'm still having fun taking advantage of that oh so alluring splash damage. The problem with playing Demo is, I have at least 3 more eyes than he does, so I just won't be able to play as good as he can. That aside though, you can't tell me that he isn't just an inherently joyful class to play as. From laying down expertly timed traps and catching my opponents off guard, playing as Demo is really fun and I can see why people choose him as their main. Oh, and of course, there's always the thrill of Demo knighting. Almost nothing compares. Being able to completely catch the enemy team off guard and slice right into them, taking out their medic or sniper is so exhilarating to me. It's like some sort of neuron activation. Hearing the of my charge meter being filled, as I plunge right into my opponent, and the gratifying as I slice the living flesh out of them and make my escape, sending all witnesses into shock and bewilderment. Of course, charging in and probably dying is fun and all. I mean, you're essentially just a melee-only scout that gets stronger with each kill if you use the Eyelander. What I think really makes Demo a fun and satisfying class to main is the pure dopamine rush of landing a direct pill shot. You see, TF2 has mastered the art of making the player satisfied with each and every kill. With Demo, that comes with the wonderful explosions that ensue with his damage. I don't think any game out there has more satisfying explosions than this one. The thrill of landing pipes, and the ecstasy-like feeling of seeing your foes die in such a violent way. It harkens back to the good feeling you get from killing demons in the original Doom. Demo really is for the thrill seekers, I think. And that seems to be a recurrent point I'm making, since TF2's explosions are so satisfying to watch. No class scratches that itch as well as Demo does. Well, maybe Soldier, but this video isn't about him, so who cares? Fun fact, Demo is played by Gary Schwartz. You know who else is? Why, the heavy weapons guy, of course. Heavy is such a difficult class for me to talk about. On one hand, he's like the main villain of a horror game, instilling fear into anyone he comes across. His ability to hunt down his opponents and completely demolish them with his wide array of miniguns and fun melee weapons makes him a totally dangerous foe, and not somebody to take lightly. But on the other hand, when I play him, I can't help but feel like I'm a sentry taped to a car that has a lot of trouble starting up. Heavy is very slow. The slowest class in the game, as a matter of fact. It just takes too long to get to a fight, and when you do, you're overwhelmed with the feeling, oh my god, okay, they're here, time to whip out my minigun, and oh no, you're dead! You could always equip the gloves or running urgently, but then you sacrifice your health, and a scout can show up from anywhere and kill you very easily. Heavy is such an enigma to me. Let me break it down. When I'm winning, oh, I feel like I'm on top of the world, but when I'm losing, it becomes a struggle to even leave the spawn. When I realize I'm not going to be able to help the situation as Heavy, I am changing class. Give me someone who can walk faster than an old guy escaping from a retirement home. I know that Heavy is fun, but I just can't understand why anyone would main him. How wish I had someone to tell me what makes him fun. Someone, please, enlighten me. Why is Heavy fun? Oh my god. Wow, Squim Jim of After Breakfast fame? What's the world's most mildly interesting YouTuber doing here?
Yes, it is I, Squim Jim of After Breakfast, and I'm here to talk about maining Heavy, which actually isn't something I bring up very often. There's not really a huge discrepancy between my hours on Heavy and the other classes, because I think all the classes in TF2 are really fun, but Heavy is still my favorite. I've mained Heavy since the Gunmetal update, which by this point was almost 6 years ago, and a little over half of the time I've played the game. That update in general really brought some new life to Heavy as a class, with a lot of good buffs to some of his weapons. Unfortunately, they've kind of ruined some of those since then, and Heavy is lacking a bit in weapon variety because most of his unlocks aren't exactly all that good. In fact, Heavy has kind of gotten the short end of the stick pretty often, but even with all that, he's still been my favorite class to play for over half of a decade. And look, Heavy isn't a complicated class. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that the skill ceiling of Heavy is super high or that he takes a lot of time to master. Heavy is almost entirely about the fundamentals: tracking, situational awareness, and positioning. Especially positioning. Heavy has the firepower to mow down just about anything in seconds with the right timing and positioning, but he's also easily overwhelmed by too many enemies and lacks the mobility to escape. So where you are and knowing which battles to pick is key. Because if you find yourself in a situation that you can't shoot your way out of, chances are you're not going to get out. But when you have those days where your tracking is totally on point and you're racking up 20 or 30 kill streaks without even having a medic, that's some good stuff. While having a dedicated medic obviously makes Heavy way stronger, I think I generally prefer to play him without one. Not having a medic is another thing that really forces you back on the fundamentals of not overextending, not getting too greedy, and knowing when to retreat. Plus, if you don't have a pocket, I think it makes getting kill streaks that high even more satisfying. But of course, not every match in TF2 is exactly going to be super well balanced. There's plenty of times where your team is just getting stomped, and playing Heavy with a friend as medic can totally turn the tides and change what would be a role into something a lot less awful, sometimes even fun. Coming back from something that would have been a stomp is also really satisfying. And unfortunately, like I kinda mentioned earlier, Heavy doesn't really offer much in the way of variety to his playstyle. I think that's a big reason why he's often overlooked. Despite me maining Heavy for the last 6 years, he's still only my second most played class behind Demoman, who has the most extensive alternate playstyle of any class. So it's not really all that fair. While I certainly hope Heavy gets some good buffs to a lot of his weapons, and maybe even some new weapons, it's really the core gameplay of that stock minigun that always has me coming back. Heavy's fun on offense, he's fun on defense, he gets the job done. He's got his limitations, and I understand why relatively few people main Heavy, but I find him to be the most satisfying and fun class to play in the majority of situations, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So that's why I main Heavy.
Well, you made a lot of points. But if there's one thing I can't stand about Heavy, it's having that big target on your back. When you make yourself the centerpiece of attention to the enemy team, when that one enemy class sets sight on you, staring you down from a distance, you know who I'm talking about. The class we all hate that excels at long-range kills, starts with an S. That's right, I can't stand being killed by spies! It just seems that no matter where I am, or where I go, or how careful I play, I always seem to be on their radar. It's as if the other players get a notification that says when I'm playing Heavy, and plan their plays accordingly. It's as if the game is self-aware and says, oh, you're having fun? Well, not anymore. Have a spy to ruin your perfectly good game. I'm sure they deserve that backstab. Sitting around all day with the cloak and dagger equipped gets really tiring. Just can't take it anymore! If I get killed by one more spy, I'm going gorilla! Hey, buddy, who do you think you are? Huh? Oh, well, if it isn't the beret-wearing man himself. Tell me, why is it that you continue to main this class when Murphy's Laws run in circles around you? Maybe you should spend some of that time you spend creeping around spying on some bitches instead.
While that is a very flattering intro to me, I will say that that is a quite interesting use for the cloak and dagger, as I might use later on. Howdy ho everyone, Coolstuff here. I'm Spy TF2, and I've got about 3,000 hours on Spy combined from 2011 to 2021, and I'm here to learn you a couple things about why I continue to play Murphy's Law Personified. Now, as much as I'd like to admit that playing Spy is as easy as getting in, getting epic montage-worthy frags, and getting out, walking back to my team asking what they've been up to, that couldn't be farther from the case. So why, you ask, do I continue to play them? Well, that's where you get into opinionated territory, because I've got several. When it comes to any FPS game, there's nothing more that I love than unique gameplay mechanics and pushing them to their limits, regardless if they're meant to or not. Spy is the exact definition of this, and I enjoy his playstyle. He's unlike anything I've ever experienced in an FPS game, or any game for that matter. There's something about that rush that I get when I outmaneuver an entire team that knows I'm there, and absolutely psychic medium predicting their movement with such precision accuracy that it causes them to shed salty tears in chat, which I subsist off of. Playing such a unique class isn't all I enjoy. I also love his high risk, high reward type playstyle, even if it's to Spy's own detriment. When I say this, I mean it in the least self-indulging way possible, but I find it hilarious when other people, especially scout snipers and pyros, call me out for either cheating or just being a nuisance. It's kind of empowering. I guess what I'm trying to say is that Spy is a roller coaster of emotions, and that causes people to not stick with them. High highs and low lows are just a normal day in the life of a spy man. Some grab on and hold on tight, while some either are too slow to grasp on, or some people lose their grasp partway through. It's all just a preference of gameplay. I, for one, grabbed on in 2016, and I haven't let go.
You haven't let go, huh? Well, I haven't even grabbed on. While you do make Spy out to be very interesting, there's nothing about him that really makes him stick to me anymore. I just don't find that sneaky Frenchman to be as fun to play as. I find it incredibly hard to fool even free-to-plays now, because the game is so old at this point, everybody checks for spies. You can't walk 2 feet out of spawn without being spy checked these days. Everybody has caught on to his gimmick. Now being invisible though, oh baby, that's where it's at! Being able to go completely invisible gives me a feeling I can't really put into words. It's like I'm playing my own personal stealth game, where all the enemies have advanced AI. This is really where I find joy in playing Spy, the act of balancing my cloak meter while also making progress behind enemy lines. However, I do think that the cloak meter lasts just a little too little for me. There are countless moments where I would have made it out alive if it weren't for my cloak turning off just when I was almost free. We'll just use the cloak and dagger, right? Yeah, because there's nothing more fun than having your cloak meter draining even faster than the default watch. Nothing more epic than sitting around waiting for it to refill. Gameplay! But maybe the waiting around is worth it to have the potential unlimited invisibility that comes with it. So yeah, as much as I can't really make myself useful as Spy, I do enjoy the feeling I get of sneaking around. Besides, my inner engineer cries when I have to sap buildings. I just feel horrible. So while the way I like to play the game and the way Spy is meant to be played don't really cross paths, I hope that everyone else watching can pick up the class and get some real use out of him. After all, if you're being screamed at in the chat for playing a Spy, then you're doing it right. Thanks for watching this new experimental video. I do plan on covering the other classes eventually, and who knows, maybe I'll kidnap some other world-famous YouTubers to talk about their favorite person to shoot bullets with in the next episode. Much love and huge shoutouts to After Breakfast and Coolstuff for agreeing to be in this video. They're super great guys and really chill to work with. Can't recommend their content enough. Thanks to them, this video really helped to get off the ground, and I can't appreciate their support enough. So again, much thanks to them, and many thanks to all you watching. Catch you later.